Hello everybody, Jeff Holiday here, and today I've got a really fun pseudoscience video for you. But before we begin, I just want to get this off my chest. I love Alex Jones.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons. Just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said, it's what they warned of, it's what we're dealing with.
No, really. I love Alex Jones.
They're demons. They're frickin' interdimensional invaders, okay? I'll just say it, make fun of me all you want on CNN or wherever, but everyone already innately knows this. These people are not frickin' humans, okay? Hillary Clinton is a goddamn demon.
But I love Alex Jones in the way I like watching people run into closed glass sliding doors. I like the absurdity of it all. At no point do I ever actually believe anything that Alex Jones actually says. The man is just simply a living meme. However, the problem is InfoWars, the media group that Alex Jones heads, has a bit of influence on people. And whereas I'd say a lot of people enjoy it simply for the comedic value, there are some true believers. And one of the problems with true believers in any regard is that they will always accept what is being told to them as gospel or trustworthy. And unfortunately, InfoWars suffers from an identity crisis. It wants to be a news media organization, but it also starts drifting into things like medicine. And even as much as I love Alex Jones, there are times when he makes me extremely uncomfortable.
Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first.
So today we're going to take a look at the pseudoscience behind InfoWars, and we're going to kind of step this up slowly. We're going to start with something that's really, really easy to digest. It's not really too terribly serious, but it can be. A huge source of InfoWars revenue actually comes from their store, where they sell a lot of supplements. And much like any place else that sells supplements, is usually peddling a bunch of, well, crap. Sometimes it's good, a lot of times it's crap. So let's start off this fuckery with Brain Force. Oh yeah, Brain Force. You've even heard Roger Stone say how much he loves Brain Force. Now, one of the big problems with Brain Force is that Alex routinely claims that they're working with leading chemists to create a truly superior formula. But when you start looking at it, it's very, very similar to, well, a bunch of nootropic supplements out there. What's nootropic supplements? Well, they're usually penned as like some sort of next evolution and the thing that's going to make you an even better human being. And most of the time, it's caffeine. Yeah, just caffeine. Now, Brain Force does actually have some active ingredients in it that could possibly do some good. The Bacopa herb extract, in fact, actually has shown to reduce cognitive decline in the elderly. However, if you're pretty much just a healthy, middle-aged person, or even younger, it's not really going to do anything for you. On top of that, you have alpha GPC, which also may overall aid in cognitive function. But the big problem is that research has shown it requires a very high dose of this chemical specifically to have any real effect. And at only 50 milligrams present in each dosage of Brain Force, you'd need to take about 8 times as much. And this is actually kind of a problem as we move on to the next one. Yerba Mate leaf powder. Mate is basically a source of natural caffeine. It's caffeine. It's just caffeine. And most people can tell you right away, if you take too much caffeine, it's not going to be very good for your heart, so you have to be kind of responsible about it. So, you know, just Yerba Mate is, that's the only real concern, right? Well, theobromine is also a chemical relative of caffeine. It's not exactly like caffeine, it's not psychoactive, it won't make you feel more alert or more focused, but it actually is also still a cardiac stimulant, which means taking it on top of a bunch of caffeine is not good for your heart. And then we have Phosphatidylserine, which also has been shown to reduce stress and improve cognitive performance. But then again, the big problem is Brain Force contains a very, very low amount relative to what's been used clinically and shown any actual real effects. But then we get to L-theanine, and L-theanine is a non-dietary amino acid, and you can usually find it just in green tea. It's basically a non-drowsy relaxation agent, and it's shown to help reduce the negative effects of caffeine, such as being jittery and having anxiety, which might be actually why some people who do take Brain Force really do enjoy it, because it doesn't feel like drinking too much coffee or taking like no dose or whatever, because this is basically relaxing them, reducing the effects of the jitteriness of basic caffeine. And the last one that we're going to talk about is Huperzine A, which is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor, which basically means it blocks the enzyme that breaks down acetylcholine. And this can favorably impact cognitive function, but yet again, the big problem is there's so little of it inside brain force, it's not really going to do much for you. So what's the verdict on brain force? Well, I mean, it's fine. It'll give you a pep and it won't be as jittery. But the big problem is still, if you're having any sources of caffeine in your life and you compound them with supplements that have naturally occurring caffeine, this can have a bad effect on your health. Now, could you pin it on brain force necessarily? No, and that is a lot to do with the problem with supplements, but that's for another video. The second one we're going to look at is Super Male Vitality, which is basically a supplement Viagra, but it also isn't really a Viagra. Instead, it uses a bunch of herbs like Tribulus Terrestris, which is well known and has been used for thousands of years in traditional medicines to basically make you horny. Yeah, it's boner medicine. Another one is maca, and it's been shown to enhance physical performance and sexual function. Tongkat Ali, also known as long jack, is actually one of the most research-backed ingredients inside Super Male Vitality because it's been shown to improve libido and sexual function in men with low testosterone. But that's the problem. That's the catch. Low testosterone. Do you not have low testosterone? Not going to do much for you. The really big problem with Super Male Vitality is if we look at the label. Take a look at this. As you can see, there is a very, very specific problem with this. The actual amount of whatever is inside of it, the ingredients, is hidden behind what is called proprietary blend. What the fuck is proprietary blend? It's again one of the problems of supplements and them not having to hold to the same rules as food or drug. They're completely handled differently, so they don't have to tell you how much of each is actually in it. There could be the tiniest minuscule amount of all these different ingredients, and the rest of it could just be water, a fluid suspension, and that's it. And suddenly it's supposed to help. But hey, if it does help, if it actually makes you feel better, able to nail your old lady or old man at night, good, hey, great, no problem. But the problem is, we don't know, and we can't test. I mean, it is kind of an issue. But the last supplement we're going to look at is oxy powder. And then we're going to move on to something different. Oxy powder is the best rated, scientifically formulated, all-natural oxygen colon cleanser that is now offered by InfoWars Life. So what is it that they say oxy powder is supposed to do? Well, let's look at the website. What are the benefits of oxy powder? It is the only colon cleansing product with ingredients backed by real clinical studies on safety. Cleanses your colon while you sleep. How easy is that? Easy capsules, no horrible tasting concoctions. Does not require time off work or an interruption to your daily schedule. Uses oxygen for gentle and safe cleansing of impurities and toxins. Oh, and hey, there we got Mr. Dr. Edward F. Group. We're going to touch on him again in just a bit. Oh yeah. Well, this is amazing. It uses the incredible power of oxygen to clean your colon. What the fuck is in this thing? Well, if we look at the label over here, we have each serving contains elemental magnesium, 1,537 milligrams, over 394% above the daily recommended value. Underneath that, we have natural citric acid, basically vitamin C. Now, magnesium is really important to the human body. Really important. It is a fundamental chemical that you have to have inside your body in order to live. However, you can find it everywhere. Everywhere. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, all sorts of shit will have magnesium in it. Your basic diet is probably pretty decently enriched in magnesium, and if it's not for some reason, it's really easy to make a change and include the things that would be high in magnesium to try and balance that out, like spinach. Eat a bunch of spinach. There you go. But at the same time, magnesium does have properties inside of medicine, especially to treat very specific conditions and ailments that could be happening at the time. And usually these are administered by a doctor through an intravenous injection. That way you get a magnesium shot. Sure, some of you have heard that before. But the real problem is that some people decide to do dangerous practices like megadosing. They believe that if they find one simple vitamin or chemical or whatever that's supposed to help, and they overdose on it, it's going to have a good effect. There are really people that believe this kind of stuff. Take, for instance, this very noteworthy case of a 28-month-old baby who had mental retardation, had various different other problems, had to breathe through a tracheotomy, and was perpetually having constipation problems. Well, the mother decided that she was going to go, and she was going to talk to a nutritionist. Not a clinical nutritionist, mind you. A hippie nutritionist. This nutritionist decided to advise her that what she needed to do was megadose this baby with, well, magnesium. Suffice to say that the baby did not live. The baby died shortly after this whole thing happened in the emergency room. And what was the cause of it? Well, is an overdose on something that usually is just really important to the human body. Some people forget that you can actually drink so much water in a day that you will die. You can overdose on water. Yep. Now the problem isn't really that oxy powder in and of itself is dangerous. It's that megadosing can be a real big problem, especially when people are not seeking out actual medical advice and guidance from somebody who knows what they're doing. But on top of that, this whole thing is marketed as a colon cleanse. Well, of course it cleans your colon. It's effectively Epsom salts. You're gonna poop. You're gonna poop. I mean, let's just take a look at the important information disclaimer at the bottom of this webpage. Oxy powder will cause watery gaseous stools. This is not clinical diarrhea. It's the byproduct of oxidation. The causes of diarrhea are usually temporary problems such as an infection or virus, or chronic problems such as an intestinal disease. Remember, oxy powder is turning solids into a liquid or gas. To assist the cleansing process, it's advised to drink half of your body weight in ounces of purified water daily while taking oxy powder. God, that's so fucking dumb. Here's a translation. Really, really simple. This shit's gonna make you poop. It'll give you the runs, you're gonna poop. It's not actually gonna clean your colon. It's not actually gonna detoxify anything. It's gonna make you shit. And it'll give you some vitamin C. Okay, so the supplements are kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes you might get something out of it. Most of the time, it's really not something that you can necessarily trust because you don't even know how much of what is inside the thing that you're taking. And that's because of the unregulated status of supplements, which is actually a very huge problem, I believe. Well, so that's it. You know, InfoWars, they talk about a bunch of conspiracy stuff and they sell a bunch of supplements. No big deal, right? No big deal. Ah, yeah, it's fine. No. Wrong. And see, there's another big problem. There are commonly talking head personalities that want to tell you how the world is supposed to work when they themselves are ill-equipped or at times outright disingenuous and deceitful about how the world actually works. And for this instance, we're going to have to talk about Paul Joseph Watson. Now, I've touched on Paul Joseph Watson before and made fun of him on my channel, and quite a few people got a little upset with me. And to those people, before you start cracking your fingers to write a nasty comment to me, I'm just going to let you know right now, I don't care. I really don't care. Nobody is above criticism. Nobody. Now, Paul Joseph Watson, not that long ago, decided he was going to make a video called The Truth About Depression. And in this video, he had a lot of interesting claims.
It's now a form of virtue signaling to constantly drone on about how depressed you are. You see it all over YouTube, these snivelling hug and confess videos made by privileged millennial brats who haven't had a proper day of hardship in their entire lives. They think they're being edgy.
Oh, by all means, tell me more.
When in fact they're engaging in just another form of basic bitchery. Oh, but there shouldn't be a stigma around depression anymore. That's mean. Yes, there should. Just as there should be a stigma around smoking and obesity. Depression has become the new fat pride movement. They've turned us into complete pussies. Because pussies are easier to push around and manipulate.
Uh-huh.
Why is everyone so depressed now when we've got it so much easier? It's because you've been completely misled about what depression actually is. Depression is nothing more than dissatisfaction with life. It's temporary unhappiness.
Now see, the big problem with this is that when you dumb down a conversation about say depression, you are not really paying attention to, nor are you being extremely respectful to the fact that it has real problems in the world, and it causes undue human suffering. It minimizes the basic fundamental data and understanding we have about depression. And for those, I'd like to share them with you right now. Now, from the data that I managed to gather right before making this video, and this is from 2015, there were 44,193 reported suicide deaths in the United States of America. 44,000. Now, over 50% of those people who killed themselves in 2015, they suffered from major depression. Now, if you also filter in those who are alcoholics and depressed, that rises to over 75%. That's a lot. 22,000 and 33,000 respectively. As well, in that year, 494,169 people had to go to the hospital for self-harming injuries, which means approximately 12 people harmed themselves for every single reported suicide. That's a bit much. That's about almost 500,000 people every year. And on top of that, depression is the most treatable form of mental illness that we know of. It's mind-boggling to just simply, well, you're just being a pussy. Well, you're just silly. Treatment doesn't necessarily have to mean popping pills. It doesn't mean having to really change a whole lot in your life. Sometimes depression can simply just be helped by having somebody to fucking talk to. And by addressing it with such derision, it doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone at all. I mean, it's just bullshit. It's not just bullshit, it's pseudoscience, because it's basically saying what we have the pre-established numbers for is not reality. Just because there seems to be a fad with young people deciding that they're depressed when they might just be suffering from really strong ill effects from puberty, it doesn't take away from the fact that it actually is a real thing and it affects a lot of people. So in that way, I kind of have to say, fuck you, Paul, you're an asshole. What the fuck is wrong with you? But moving on, let's get to something big, something juicy. Let's get to the climax of this video, yeah? So I saw this video today, and that's actually why I'm making this video right now. Let's take a look.
It's a big game. It's a big game for them. They go, oh, we got to get the intubators ready so we can help the babies breathe after they get their shots. They're giving them these Hep B shots. There's no way these kids can get Hep B as a little baby. It's ridiculous.
They give them the most deadly shot there is.
Yeah.
The most deadly shot there is. What?
And notice Hep B is exploding now in the U.S.
You know, and one of the things that's not talked about a lot with the vaccines is the epigenetic.
Do you not understand how to say epigenetic? Epigenetic. 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 Why can't he fucking say that? What the fuck?
Gene damaging problems that we're going to see when they're using all these different animal.
Oh, that's another thing.
genes.
They admit it's jumping into our genetics.
Oh, look who it is. It's our friend Dr. Group. We're going to talk about Dr. Group in just a second.
Can go from generation to generation to generation. 3 generations down, you're going to have damages from these vaccinations.
Yeah, no. No. What? Huh? So what is this all about? Well, let's look at the tweet tagline here. Dr. Group and Rob Dew join Alex Jones in a studio to discuss a new study which shows that unvaccinated children are healthier than those that have been vaccinated. Well, that sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Well, as it turns out, I know exactly what they're talking about. Let's take a look. Pilot comparative study on the health of vaccinated and unvaccinated 6 to 12-year-old U.S. children. Now, this is published in the Journal of Translational Science, and quite recently, actually. Let's take a look at the abstract. In a final adjusted model with interaction, vaccination but not preterm birth remained associated with neurodevelopmental disorders, while the interaction of preterm birth and vaccination was associated with a 6.6-fold increased odds of NDD, while vaccination remained significantly associated with NDD after controlling for other factors, preterm birth coupled with vaccination was associated with an apparent synergistic increase in the odds of NDD. Wow, that sounds really fucked up. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Well, basically what this is trying to say was that they studied the parents of 666 homeschooled children, 39% of whom were not vaccinated, and concluded that vaccination increased the risk of neurodevelopmental problems, particularly if children were born prematurely. Well, fuck, that sounds awful. Oh my gosh, I wonder if there's any problem with this paper. Well, actually, yes, there is a huge problem. You see, this was actually published a year ago. It was published a year ago, and then it was almost immediately retracted because it's a crap study. It reaches for conclusions that are not actually there. As a small sample size, it does not have any causal factor checks to make sure that this is going to be conflated by other extenuating circumstances. It's shit. So it was retracted. Oh, but then it was republished just a little bit ago. Well, yeah, it just got retracted again. Yeah. You see, the journal is published by what's called open access text, which is one of those very predatory study publishers that will take any kind of crap and put it out there. It's basically like a research mill where you make whatever kind of fraudulent or bullshit kind of study you want, and it can be the most loosey-goosey bullshit that ever was concocted, but for the right price, we'll publish it. Well, so the big problem is it's just a crap study and it has no validity and all that, blah, 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 right? No, that's not the problem. That's not the actual problem. The real problem is that people will believe this. And why will they believe it? Because of people like Dr. Group. Dr. Edward F. Group III, DCNPDACBNDCBCNDABFM. Holy fucking shit, that sounds really serious. Dr. Edward F. Group III founded Global Healing Center in 1998 with the goal of providing the highest quality natural health information and products. With the goal of providing products? Well, let's scroll down. What are his qualifications? Doctor of Chiropractic degree. Of course he's a fucking chiropractor. Of course he is. Naturopath practitioner degree. Certified clinical nutritionist. Holistic healing practitioner. Certified clinical herbalist. All this from the Natural Healing Institute of Naturopathy. American Clinical Board of Nutrition. Diplomate of American Clinical Board of Nutrition. Diplomate of the American Board of Functional Medicine. Diplomate of the Chiropractic Board of Clinical Nutrition. OPM 52. Clinical Nutrition and Functional Medicine. I've talked about this before, especially in my Bought the Movie review, but they're funny language words to basically describe you want to take a few classes, we'll give you a certificate. Oh, and hey, look, he was a key speaker at the March Against Monsanto. I would have never guessed that at all. Okay, so why am I picking on Mr. Edward Group? Well, that's actually a very specific reason. It's not just because he's some woosling and sleazy individual and he's spouted a bunch of bullshit. No, that's not really the big problem that I have with him, because there are a lot of people like that. A lot. Dr. Oz, Joseph Mercola, all those types of fucking wankers trying to spout a bunch of shit and fool very gullible people into bad health decisions. So he's not really notable for that. No, what he's notable for is, well, there's a problem with his foundation. You see, the Global Healing Center is in fact something that sells products. They sell supplements. Guess who they sell them to? InfoWars. That's right, InfoWars, who then slap their InfoWars label on it, and they sell it to you. Well, gee, Jeff, why is that such a big problem? Well, when you're watching your media, and they are telling you all these dangerous things that are happening, how vaccines are dangerous, vaccines are causing autism, vaccines are causing all these different health problems. By the way, quick disclaimer, vaccines don't fucking cause autism, shut the fuck up. And then, when they tell you about all these problems, when you have this Dr. Edward F. Group chiropractor coming out and telling you all these horrible problems, all the ways that you should be afraid. Be afraid. Well, hey, by the way, Infowars.com, go to our store over here. We got these great supplements that can help fight these problems, blah, 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 blah. And guess where those supplements came from? Yeah. So basically, anytime you're watching InfoWars and they start talking about some health problem and they follow it up with a supplement, the whole thing was a fucking commercial. The whole thing is to try and scare you into buying a bunch of pills. Pills that have not been actually evaluated by the FDA. Pills that have not been clinically tested and tried to show whether they actually work or not. It's bullshit, and it's the most shady fucking practice I could possibly think of. What the fuck? Don't vaccinate your kids. Instead, just make sure you take plenty of blank supplement to protect them from any of these virulent diseases. I mean, it's just fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. Look, I want to enjoy InfoWars. I want to be able to go on there and watch Alex Jones Hulk out and freak out about the Illuminati and get a good fucking chuckle. I want to be able to make some memes. That's what I want.
I'm a pioneer. I'm an explorer. I'm a human, and I'm coming. I'm animated. I'm alive. My heart's big. It's got hot blood going through it fast.
And I don't blame Alex for wanting to sell supplements just because he wants to make a buck and he has to fund his media. Yeah, that's fine. Like, I get that. But I do have a huge problem with people selling fear. And that's what this is. That's what this ends up being. That's shitty. That's really shitty. Vitamins have been not a scam, but an interesting twist to try and make money in the whole nutritional field for a long time. So as much as it might be annoying to me, I can't get that mad. But at least with vitamins, they're sold on the basis of, well, this can just improve your life, you know, or this can maybe help balance you out or whatever. This kind of shit, the kind of crazy crap that fucking doctor group is spouting off, is actually freaking people out. It will scare people into buying a product, and that's wrong. It's reprehensible. And the worst part is I don't think there's any actual legal basis that he can get in trouble for doing this. And that's why this is so fucked up. That's why we need to figure out a better way of dealing with supplements and the shady practices in which people are preying upon the most vulnerable, the most gullible, the most at risk. Because all you really have to do is look back on that case of that 28-month-old baby and his mother being convinced into by some lying sack of shit that she needed to pump him full of magnesium and the poor kid dying. To really know and to really understand that it will always be the most vulnerable people who will suffer when these types of things go unchecked. I'm not a big government kind of guy, never have been, but something should probably be done. Just saying. It's so fucked up. Anyway, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this video, you can do the hoopity-boo and the joobity-jaw and the dub-dub-dub-dub in the description box down there. Enjoy that. Make sure and check out me and Nick from Wizard of Cause every Sunday night, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the YouTube Saints. Link in the description. Oh yeah, I guess I should probably try and shill t-shirts. I'm selling t-shirts. They're okay. And as always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.
You gotta have the will to accept the truth, buck the system, and the group collective. Through that,